in to do a more comprehensive examination and get to the other side of the wreckage that was against the pavement. We also are aware that there are dive teams. The New York Police Department is still diving for components and pieces of the helicopter that we are still looking to recover. Those include the main rotor, the main transmission, the roof structure, and the tail structure, and we appreciate all of their hard work. And then we have a whole team that is collecting the standard information that we normally gather as part of any investigation, which includes pilot qualifications, logbooks, history of the helicopter, maintenance logs, and so forth. We do have the logbooks for the pilot. The pilot held a commercial pilot certificate with rotorcraft and instrument ratings. The pilot reported 450 hours of total flight experience on his most recent medical, which was issued on September 20th, 2024. As of March 29th, 2025, the pilot accumulated about 788 hours of total flight time. We still need to calculate flight time in that Bell helicopter, and I'll have more information on that hopefully tomorrow, because he previously was flying a Robinson 44. Now, what we are hoping is that we are able to get the public to send us any photos or video you may have, or if you want to contact us because you believe that you have information that could be pertinent to our investigation, please reach out to us, provide that information to us. We will get in contact with you at the following email address: witness@ntsb.gov. That's witness@ntsb.gov. Now, I will take some questions. Again, a reminder, I know there will be questions for very detailed investigative information. I am happy to talk about the team, their qualifications, the process. I am not going to speculate on investigative information. We are very factual, and we will provide that in due course. So I will call on you. Please state your name, your affiliation for me.
Sure. It's Matthew Chase of Newsday. To the extent you're able to share this, is there a preliminary cause? I realize you gave that early talk. Is there a cause preliminarily that you can share with us?
The question is there a preliminary cause? We do not have a preliminary cause. That takes time. As I stated, our team focused on helicopter airworthiness and structures and systems is at the facility with the wreckage, doing the wreckage exam. That takes time. Of course, it takes time to also gather information, records that we need to comb through, so we do not have that at this time. And just to mention, as regarding cause, we will not speculate on cause ever, but we will not be determining any sort of preliminary or probable cause at the scene of an accident. We don't do that. What we are doing here is gathering the perishable evidence, the evidence that we need to gather for our investigation. When it comes to maintenance logbooks and other materials, we can look at those materials later on. What we need to do is look at the wreckage now. We need to focus on finding some of the additional components and structures that we're looking for, conduct witness interviews, and gather the records that we need. We can review the records later, so that probable cause will not occur for quite some time. Yes, ma'am, and then we'll go here. So the question was what we were doing with the engine. Nothing that we would not normally do as part of our standard investigation, where we would have wreckage and we'd start separating some of the components that we always look at. That's standard in our investigation. Of course, we'll have a team that always looks at engines or power plants to evaluate them as in standard course of our investigation. So nothing in particular. It was in the wreckage, and so we separated it from the helicopter so we could take a closer look at it in a more upright position. Yes, sir. The question is, what will us looking at as part of this investigation on scene tell us about cause, and what will we be looking at related to the safety history as part for this particular helicopter company? First of all, we always look at safety history. That's a standard part of all of our investigations, so we'll collect that. Not just from the Federal Aviation Administration, that is a party to every single one of our investigations, but we'll also ask those questions in interviews and get other information that will help us get a very broad view and detailed information about the safety history of this particular operator and also the owner of the helicopter itself. With respect to what will it tell us on scene about our investigation, the evidence right now, everything is on the table. We don't rule anything out. We take a very detailed and comprehensive view, and it's way too early in the investigation. It will be too early on scene. That's much later in the investigation. Yes, ma'am. The question is, what have we been able to glean from the videos that are already circulating on social media? Those are very helpful for our investigators, certainly, but a lot of those videos are from a very far distance, and so we'll have to look at those a little bit further back at headquarters, but we're hoping to get some additional videos that provide us information. We don't know what people have recorded or taken pictures of that could be helpful in an investigation. We have found in past investigations, and I'm just thinking of one that I went to in Ketchikan, Alaska, a mid-air collision where photos from somebody who was on board one of the airplanes helped us significantly in our investigation. So it can be very key parts of our investigation. So for anyone who didn't hear my previous request, please send us any sort of videos or photos or information you'd like to share with us at witness@ntsb.gov. Yes, ma'am. So the question is, do we have any sort of concerns or have we issued any sort of safety recommendations in the past about these type of air tour operations? We have. Actually, we did. So this particular operator was governed under Part 135 of the Federal Aviation regulations, but this particular operation was under Part 91. All air tours are. We have issued an entire report on Part 91 operations with respect to revenue passengers. We believe in one level of safety strongly, and that may not look like regulation for a major commercial airline, but we do believe that they should be regulated. We have issued recommendations in the past on recorders, crash-resistant recorders. We've issued numerous recommendations on safety management systems, on particular regulations for Part 91. It's too early to say what we would recommend as part of this investigation. However, this is a concern that we've raised for a number of years. Certainly we raised this after the Fly Nyan crash, and in a specific report that we have online at ntsb.gov focused on Part 91 revenue passenger operations. And so I would direct you actually to that report. It was very comprehensive about our recommendations, specifically about air tour operators. And if you can't find that, our media relations team can help provide that information, because we did issue a set of recommendations to improve safety in this area. That will be part of, the question is, was this operator complying with those recommendations? Those are recommendations, not regulations, but we would have to look at that, and that will be standard in this investigation. So thank you very much, sir. And then I'm going to go over here. Have we recovered the rotor? We are looking for the main rotor and the tail rotor right now.
Get them the heck out of here and let them fly down the Hudson River. I'm telling you right now, if something isn't done, there's going to be a disaster where they're going to crash into one of these buildings or crash into the neighborhoods up there. They're annoying and they're bothering. People have been asking and asking and asking, and nothing has been done.
Thank you. There was a comment about, thank you, sir. There was a comment about the concern about these helicopter operations, and thank you very much for sharing that. Appreciate it. Yes. The question is, what would result, how did this essentially how did this tragedy happen where a helicopter would break apart in the air? I understand that is a significant concern and a question on everyone's mind. It is going to take time. We need to do a very thorough examination of the wreckage to determine what occurred first and how that occurred. Once we have that, we'll be able to release that to the public.
Some more questions?
Yes. Sure. Yeah, great question, because I think sometimes people are reluctant to really reach out to us because they may not think something is relevant to our investigation. So the question was on reports of a large flock of birds in the area shortly before the crash. We are aware of those reports. We discussed it this morning. It's something we will be looking into. What I will say to the public, if something struck you as different, or maybe you paused, or it crossed your mind that maybe it's something you would like to share with our investigators, there's no downside, please, in sharing that information with us. You can be very helpful in providing that investigative information to the NTSB. So again, witness at ntsb.gov. Even if you think it's irrelevant, please send it in. Yes, sir.
Hi, Stephen Nesson, WNYC Radio. You said there are 17 people on site here working on the investigation and 10 in D.C. Is that how many people you would typically have for a helicopter crash investigation? Is that the same number, for example, during the Flynon helicopter crash, or have cuts of the federal government reduced your number of investigators?
So the question is, the 17 investigators here and 10 who are supporting back home, but the 17 personnel here, 10 of which are investigators, is that typical for an investigation like this? How would it compare to Fly Nyan, and would it be less as a result of any sort of cuts to the agency? First of all, let me address the agency. We have not experienced any personnel losses other than typical retirements in our agency. Our agency has been provided with, by the administration, thank you, an exemption from the deferred resignation program. We got a hiring exemption for several investigative positions within each of our transportation modes, so we can bring our numbers up to help us in our investigation, and that is critical. So we have not suffered in any way. With respect to comparison on Fly Nyan, I don't know how many investigators were here on Fly Nyan. Certainly our media team can provide that to you. It really isn't, what I will say for our investigations is when an accident occurs, we look at what might be areas we want to look into. How many people can we send based on the rest of our workload? And because we have a pretty heavy workload right now, and that is the decision making that goes into what expertise do we need and who do we want to send. That is what feeds into that, so it might vary depending on the investigation. Okay, that is the end of questions today. What I will ask is that you monitor X, which is NTSB_newsroom, and also NTSB.gov, which is our website, which will have updates on future press conferences. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. If there's any questions to our emergency management or director of the police, we could answer those as well. If not, we'll close it out and say thank you for coming.
Do you know, was there a black box? I know this may be an NTSB question, but do you know if there was a black box?
Want to speak to that, Greg? Black box question.
At this point, we have been advised that it was recovered. That's part of the dive operations that's currently on the way. They are.
Is a black box?
I don't know, but if there is, that's part of the dive operations. It's currently on the way. The NYPD scuba.
Louder.
Yeah, the NYPD scuba team, as indicated by the chair, has been assisting us since the last evening. They're doing a comprehensive search of the crash area. If in fact that item is recovered, that'll be turned over as part of the evidence.
You don't know if
I don't know if this, right.
But is it possible that this model does not have a black box?
I have no idea. That would have to be directed to. Yes, Pat. The area in question is, it's about 5 feet deep where the chopper went down. It's a very rocky substance on the bottom there. So there was challenges for the scuba people to get in there. Even to this day, we were doing recovery on the pier line and the shoreline where getting a boat in that close was tough. So it was a lot of the stuff our emergency service people, people from my office were out there physically walking the shoreline recovering items. 5 feet deep, roughly. Yes.
Question for Mayor Phillips. Do you know if the brother-in-law is flying in Spain has arrived yet?
I believe they said it was an hour and a half from now until he arrives. Is that what they said?
Yes, all the
He was flying in this morning, and then they said an hour and a half from.
He'll be arriving about.
Yeah, in about an hour from now, he'll be arriving.
Well, that's the discretion of the Coast Guard. Obviously, they've been establishing where the dives are currently operating. The one location that they're looking at, they've discovered some information based on sonar and things like that. It's approximately 75 feet deep. So it's a pretty wide area right now. Primarily, we're in the area of the crash site and then working outward. But as the dive teams discover items that doesn't appear normal, they're marking them, and then based on the currents and things like that, they'll be back to continue their dives in that area.
Can I get clarification on something, just to make sure I heard this right? So where the body of the chopper went into the water, that's 5 feet deep right there?
Approximately 5 feet deep.
Okay, because there's that video of the blade whirling around, and that went into the water significantly further.
Yeah, that's the area the water's approximately 75 deep, 75 foot. They have found some items on the floor based on sonar and things like that that are not normal appearances, and that's why they're continuing to mark that. Hudson River is a very, very tough place to dive. So we're dealing with the expertise of the NYPD, and they're going to make sure it's done safely, and we're going to recover what's down there. It may take some time, but they're going to stay there until they have to get what they have to get. Excuse me?
Visibility in the water.
Very, very murky. I mean, I was there last night when they were physically removing the victims. You literally can't see a hand in front of you, but they did a phenomenal job.
Okay.
Forgive this ignorant question, but 75 feet deep from where?
From the shoreline.
Greg Kears.
Greg Kearse, K-I-E-R-C-E.
That's not a radius, that's
Straight out.
straight out.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah.
Can you specify as best as possible the Jersey, whatever location on the Jersey City side the crash occurred closest to?
You want to answer that, Craig, as well? You must stay with that as well.
If you're familiar with the Port Authority vents down by foot of 6th Street, roughly, it's adjacent right to the Port Authority vent. It's adjacent right to the Port Authority pier where it houses the vents for the Howland Tunnel. Yes.
Gary, you posted a little bit about it on social media, but can you just tell us who knows so far about family?
I'm sorry?
Oh, for the mayor, can you tell us who knows so far about family?
They told us, I touched on the fact that they were here for a birthday trip for the mom. Her birthday is actually, I understand, in June, but it was a trip that they were doing now. It was one of the child's birthdays today. He was here for a business trip, arriving on Sunday, touring some Siemens entities in Pittsburgh, is what they told us. And then they extended the trip with the family arriving a couple days ago for the birthday portion of the trip.
Birthday today or yesterday?
They said his birthday, or one of the child's birthday, was today, is what they said. Yeah. Excuse me? I don't know. Yeah?
Just a quick question about the birds. Forgive me, I'm not familiar with the birds in this area. Is it a typical problem that there are birds that could possibly, interact
Answer
with
that.
flight?
There were 3 working theories. There was the birds discussion, there was drone discussion, and mechanical failure discussion. And we'll see where it goes. And again, I don't want to hypothesize, but I think as time goes on, we'll leave it at that.
What are your thoughts on the regulation issue?
I think that you need more regulation there, and we need the FAA to restrict the tourism on the helicopter. It's a very crowded space, and those of you that aren't familiar with it, you only could go so high because you can't interfere with Newark, LaGuardia, and JFK on the commercial airlines. So you have all of the news outlets, you have the transportation, you have the tourism, all in a very, very tight space that can't go above a certain elevation. So it is very congested, and it's a very, very congested space on the ground. So it's dangerous, and as he said, had it been 50 feet more towards the shoreline, it would have landed on a walkway that is highly trafficked and not far from a playground over there close to Newport, and it's another 100 feet. It could have been in the middle of Newport Parkway. So it's a very dangerous situation.
You want the ban?
Yeah, I think that you need to be practical about it. Post 9/11, there was restrictions, and it seemed like it worked okay. And then over time, we've brought back those restrictions and more traffic. That helicopter did multiple tours that day already. They are very busy operators. And that probably is going to lead to questions around maintenance and all of those sort of things. And by the time it's resolved, the world will stop watching this, unfortunately, because it takes the NTSB a lot of time to get to a resolution. But there's going to be a lot of questions on how those tourist operators work, and I think there's reason to be concerned over it.
Hi, Mayor. Josh Nancy, the New York Post. The pilot has been ID'd as a
Yeah.
Navy SEAL vet, and I was just wondering if you've been in contact with his family.
They told us I have not, he's been in contact. The mother is in Utah, and yeah, he's a veteran and African-American male, 36 years old?
Yes,
36 years old. Yeah.
For clarification purposes, Mr. Mayor, for Aviation, we understand there were 3 children. Can you clarify the ages?
Do you have the exact ages? Kim, when we're done, Kim will give you the exact ages. Kim will come up at the end and give you the exact ages. She'll give you that information. She'll give you that. Anything else before we wrap it up? Yes. No. I mean, look, you have these operators saying a lot of different things. I think a reasonable person would come to the conclusion that if you're a pilot and you're going on a trip, you would recognize whether you have fuel or you don't have fuel in that. That helicopter was used on multiple trips earlier in that day. So I would likely rule that out. You know, I'm going to go with the hypothesis that that's probably not going to end up being the outcome on this.
Have you worked with the family in Spain?
We spoke today to the executives, to the executives at Siemens, and they flew out last night, and the one that flew out actually has a close family relationship with the deceased. They would vacation together, so there's familiarity there. He was facilitating conversations with the consulate in order to facilitate the release of the bodies to bring them back to Spain. And then, as we said earlier, family members should be arriving in an hour or so.
You said the brother-in-law.
Kim will give you the pilot's name and the ages.
Brother-in-law, you said?
Yeah, I believe it was the wife's brother. Yeah.
Another question for your emergency management folks.
Greg.
Items that divers are looking for. Does that aircraft have a black box? Are you looking for that?
Whatever items, as I say, I'm not familiar with whether there's a black box or not on that type of an aircraft. What they are looking for now in particular was the transmission, the rotors, and other associated items associated with the actual engine and things like that. When the chopper was taken up, it was very, very seriously damaged. So as the NTSB chair had said, it was delivered to the Army Corps of Engineers via boat. And this morning they were over there first thing doing their first portion of the investigation. But as I mentioned, there were some items that were found on the sonar that is a matter of interest, so they are continuing to do their dives. Weather permitting, of course, you know, it's a tough, very choppy out there today, but they're the best at what they do.
Thank you.
Okay, if everybody's ready, I can give the names. If I could give them once, that would be great. If everybody is ready, everybody have pen and paper? Okay. They're asking if you guys can just get down because they're just.
Are you going to be doing it on camera?
Doesn't matter. They're asking you to. They're yelling at you.
She's not saying anything that's for the camera. She's just giving a name.
I'll wait till you're ready. Okay. I will give names and spellings, and I'll do it twice. I'll go back over. Please forgive the pronunciation. Augustine Escobar Canidas. That's Agustin Escobar Canadas, 49.
What's the father?
Mercy Camprubi Montal, Merce Camprubi Montal, 39.
That's one word?
That's 3 names. Mercedes Escobar Camprubi, Mercedes Escobar CAMPRUBI 9. Her date of birth was April 11th, 2016. Shawnkeese Johnson was the pilot, 36. SEANKESE. Johnson, spelled normally, JOHNSON.
And he's 36.
36. I can go through it again if you guys need me to.
The wife and kids.
Okay, so I'll just go through it all one more time so that we don't get asked a bunch of times. All right, so 49-year-old Augustine Escobar Candidas, AGUSTIN ESCOBAR CANADAS, again, 49. Mercy Camp Ruby Montal, MERCE CAMPRUBI MONTAL, 39. Victor Escobar Camp Ruby, VICTOR ESCOBAR CAMPRUBI, 4. Mercedes Escobar Camp Ruby, I'll just spell the first name, MERCEDES. And then the pilot, Shawnkeese Johnson, SEANKESE, Johnson spelled normally, 36. Those are the names that I have right now.
There's 3. Oh, no, there's 2.
Yep.
Oh, you're right.
Those are the only names I have right now.
Yeah, Victor and Mercedes.
Those are the only names that I have confirmed.
We don't have the 11-year-old.
There were 3 though.
There are 3 kids, yeah.
Augustine Canadas is the dad, right?
49.
49.
So why don't you have the, I'm sorry, just,
That's what I have confirmed. It's out of my hands. That's what I'm given.
in the two that passed at the hospital, do you know which were, but they were the 2 children, right?
Yes.
Sorry, how old is Mercedes?
11.
She would have been 9 today.
The one thing I didn't get is just like the spacing.
gosh,
I know, I'm sorry. You said it quickly, so,
Well, they're all because they're all spelled the same.
okay.
It's like Escobar, Canada's, Camp Ruby, Camp Ruby, Camp Ruby, Escobar, Escobar.
In
Camp
Spain,
Ruby.
they use 2 last names.
Yeah, no, but I just wasn't sure which one, so.
Okay. And that's how it's spelled, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Escobar Capullo.